husband remarried a number of years after her passing to a lovely lady. And he passed away with cancer too. I don't know what the specifics were on that.
And then Auntie Bernice, Uncle Leonard's wife, was the last of that group, right?
Yeah, yeah. She was, I think, a week away from being 85.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Incredible woman.
Yeah.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's.
So you're the last of that group.
Yeah.
But fortunately seem to be going strong.
Yeah, I'm working at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe we can go back and just talk about Dad for a bit. And do you remember where his parents came from?
Yes.
So his mother was Rose.
Rose. She came from Latvia.
And Harry was
Harry was from Poland. And he was from the big family. He had a lot of
he had brothers
siblings.
and sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were just actually looking at a picture of them at Rhonda's house at the Shiva.
Oh yeah.
And Harry wasn't in that picture, but there was Morris and there was Irene and all the aunts,
Yeah.
Faye and
Anne and Lil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had and Morris. So they had a pretty large family.
Yeah.
And so Dad, excuse me, was the first child.
Yeah.
And then he had a sister, Anne.
Right.
And I think you were telling me at another time that he, had to like leave school and go to work, and he was also raised in the sort of Depression era.
Yeah.
To help
his father had a job during the Depression. It wasn't a very high-paying job, but he was the janitor at a social club, a Jewish social club. So he survived through the Depression with that.
Where many people didn't have work.
Right, right. But if things were so bad, I mean, how did they were able to have functions that you have at a social
Somebody
club?
had money, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, apparently.
And then he died also when I was very young too.
Yes. Yes.
Also cancerized.
Of the lungs. He smoked like an absolute maniac. He would light one cigarette off of another cigarette. And that's how my mother-in-law got emphysema, because she never smoked at all.
It's just secondhand smoke.
Yeah. In those days, we didn't know anything about that. And Anne, his daughter, and her husband and 2 children lived in the house.
Together.
They all lived together. And Anne and her husband were heavy smokers too.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, you walked in and you had to break the screen of smoke
it's very different
to get through.
than today.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, nobody knew in those days that it was so damaging. And it affected him. I don't know how old he was. He must have been middle 60s.
He's pretty young from what I remember.
Yeah, because in those days, to get an old age pension, you had to be over 70.
Oh.
And then they took it back a few, after to an earlier age. But he never collected.
And so they lived downtown as well, I'm sure, in the early days?
When I met your father, they lived at Bloor, between Bathurst and Spadina, on Madison Avenue, which is quite a fancy area now, in a very large house. Yeah.
And then...
well, there were a lot of people in that house.
Yeah. And then they moved up here to
Lionsgate.
Lionsgate.
Yeah.
But I guess by that time, you guys were already married?
Yeah. Yeah. because we got married, they were still on downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And then Dad's mom also died, I think, fairly youngish too, right? Yeah.
She was close to 70, late 60s.
Yeah.
Because I remember she was trying to get the old age pension, which was being, allowed younger
Mm-hmm.
to younger people. So she was in her 60s.
And what did she die from?
Well, she had emphysema, for one thing, and I think she hurt her heart.
Mm.
Yeah.
She was a character from what I remember too.
Oh, my goodness. If she liked you, she would swear at you like knew every word in the book.
Mm-hmm.
She should have been a man. She had
It's
balls.
pretty strong, yeah.
She had balls.
That
lady was a character.
Yeah. She was quite the cook too. Not gourmet, but she could whip up
she was an
meal.
amazing cook. Everything that she made was unbelievably good. European,
scratch.
old country
Yeah.
style, but amazing. Oh,
Mhm.
she made kreplach, and she made
Veronicas and-
noodles, her own
Wow.
noodles, and she made everything from
Yeah.
scratch. No such thing as buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the bubby, the butcher,
Mhm.
the great grandmother, used to do all that too.
Mhm.
And I remember asking her for a recipe for to make challah,
Oh.
and she said, "It's like this: you go to the bakery and you ask them for 10 cents worth of yeast." So I said to her,
Okay.
"Bubby, in what year did you buy this 10 cents worth of yeast?
Yeah.
Like, how much is 10 cents worth
Yeah.
of yeast?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was a sweetie.
Yeah, that's funny.
Do you remember going to the butcher shop?
Yeah, that was my memory is going there for a Passover Seder
Yeah.
and going downstairs and turning on the gas that they used to use to clean the
Clean the
chickens
chi-
with. And,
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, in the
Oh.
dark.
Oh.
So that was a kind of a
Scary.
trauma that stayed with me for quite some time. So, and then his sister Anne had 3 children. So Sheldon first,
Yeah.
Jeff. And,
Well, she was pregnant with Sheldon at my wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh, no, Sheldon was there at my wedding.
Oh,
actually.
okay. Then maybe she was pregnant with Jeff,
Yes, she was.
and then Douglas, the
Douglas,
third child.
the baby, yeah.
And so.
They all lived with the grandmother,
Mhm.
yeah.
One big
Family.
crazy household. So then you were saying as years went on, Dad had health problems.
Yes.
When did that start?
He had to be 50
Mm.
when he had his first open heart surgery.
Mhm.
Yeah. And yeah. And then he went back to smoking.
Mm.
And then 10 years later, he had the second open heart surgery. Yeah. He was a very intelligent man.
Mm.
Unfortunately, he didn't use that gift to his advantage.
And he didn't go on to do like this schooling or
No.
after he left.
No, he didn't graduate high school. He went out to work.
Mm.
Yeah. And at that time he was making more money than his father.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And he did well in real estate,
Mhm.
but he always regretted the fact that he didn't have a higher education.
Mhm. So that
And he
would
was
have
a
been-
very frustrated man. Good-natured when he wanted to be.
Mhm. So that would have made it maybe important for him for his kids to get an education.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. he realized later how important that was to future life.
Yeah.
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 And all his friends had gone to university.
Okay.
And they had a big circle of friends at one time.
And then he died very young as well. He was, what, 59? He would have been 60,
Yeah.
right?
Before he was 60. Yeah.
And so that was a combination of his heart and his lungs, because he also had emphysema, right? From smoking.
Yeah, he was on oxygen for about a year.
And,
Yeah, because of the emphysema.
yeah, so that was very young.
Yeah.
And with how did he how was he as a grandfather? I mean, in terms of having those two grandchildren, because he just knew
very
Kirsten and
endearing.
Jason, right?
Very, very endearing. Could not get enough of them. And showed it. You know, where before he loved you and Randy.
Risa.
Really.
Risa.
There was no, Risa, yes,
Yeah.
because that was
She was
just
the youngest.
the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But he didn't know how to show his affection.
Was that because his parents weren't affectionate, or?
I think so. I think so. His parents were old country,
Hardworking.
hardworking. You have a roof on your head, you have food on the
Yeah.
table, that's enough. Don't ask for
They
anything
should be
more.
happy.
Yeah. They were survivors. They didn't know, they never had anything in their life, so it never occurred to them that there's more to give than just food and shelter. And I think that was a big drawback for him, because he didn't know how to show it. And maybe.
No, he did it through material things too.
Yes.
He would buy things.
Definitely. Definitely. That was his way of showing love. Yeah.
And I guess both your parents and his parents, like, they fortunately came here earlier. They didn't go through the Holocaust. So
No.
So neither of you had family that were, or maybe that was in previous.
I would think more so your dad's family, like
Poland
aunts and uncles. I don't know too much about that. My father's family was, I think his sisters were still in Russia. So although they didn't go through the Holocaust, they went through the major war.
Right.
And after the war was over, he did get in touch with a couple of his sisters and their family, and he used to send money and care packages. And then the contact, with the communism and everything, they don't even know if they got the stuff.
Right. Is there anything that, just sort of thinking back on your life, that things that you've learned or things that you'd like to share about, life in general, or words of wisdom, or anything that you would like to impart?
What I've learned is that you can't show enough about how much you love your kids. It's impossible to overdo it. And I've had a rough time coming through my life with different tragedies and stuff. And I was an abused person, although my husband never hit me. I did have a very difficult time in my marriage. And it took a number of years to grow out of that, away from that, and put it behind. I never dwelt on it, but it was always there. And there are a lot of things I would have liked to have been able to do that or that I could have done differently, but I wasn't able at the time. And I regret it, but I don't dwell on it because it's gone. But you got to make the most of every day. Every day counts, and every day is a step forward. And you've got to show the people you love that you love them. It's very important. And be there for them. And enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And try to be healthy to do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the key.
But there are a lot of things you have control of.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
And the things that you don't have control of, you can't do anything about.
Right.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Or?
No, just that I consider myself very lucky that I have an amazing family, and I want to be around to enjoy it.
For sure, and we want you to be around to enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that information with me and with us, because I'm going to make copies of this for everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you very much.
And I'm going to be around even if I'm not around.
Good. Find a way.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mom. I love you.
I love you, darling.